I'm Lex Runtsman from the Linfield English Department, here to welcome you to another in this year's series of readings at the NIC. Stephanie Lenox is the newest member of the Airlie Press family of authors. She edits the online journal Blood Orange Review and teaches at Willamette University. She holds an MFA from the University of Idaho, where she served as the editor of the magazine Fugue. And her work has been recognized with a variety of awards, including grants from the Arizona Commission on the Arts and the Oregon Arts Commission.
And then at dinner tonight, before the reading, we were talking about smart dogs and about a dog that had a vocabulary of about 200 words. And so I wanted to read you a poem about my dog, who is not that kind of dog. He did not have a very large vocabulary, and we tortured him unfairly. This poem is called Torturing the Dog. To our ratty mutt bear, any other 100 sounds could be his name. He'd tilt his tangled ears to buddy, bimbo, Buddha, wag his tail at buffoon or bum. And the cat, preferring to remain nameless, watched him roll and sit and beg to beefcake or butthead. All that mattered was saying it high and rich, dangling the word like a biscuit above his nose. My sister and I, bored, would position ourselves on opposite sides of the yard with Bear between us, calling and calling his name to see where his loyalties lay. We'd croon any name we could think of, piercing the air with shrill devotion, reveling in our power as our dog ran great spasmodic circles between us, tongue hanging out, round and round, shredding the grass, kicking up dirt, drool trailing like rains no one would ever want to control, running and running until he puked. A poet at heart, he rhymed sweet with treat, walk with talk, sopping up vocabulary with the small sponge of his brain. He was my first teacher, dog crazy with love, loving everyone equally, running circles around our created confusion, delirious with our attention, whatever our intent, taking every lovely last syllable as his own. So, I miss my dog. And the next poem I'll read is one that is the result of years and years of research. With my grandmother watching TV in her living room. Mostly we watched America's Funniest Videos, sometimes Wheel of Fortune, but this one is about America's Funniest Home Videos, and the title is, After Uncle Fred Nearly Dies, We Send the Tape to America's Funniest Home Videos. It's clear we like our trampolines taut and ready to dump our dumb asses into the nearest thorny hedge. We like to watch ourselves mugging it up, big hams, strutting our stuff, then falling down a flight of icy stairs. We do it on purpose because we fear we might grow too proud without the occasional crotch shot. So consumed with our antics, practical jokes, dopey dogs chasing their own tails, we can barely hold the camera still. The toddlers who molest our windows are darling. They don't yet understand the transparency of glass. Cats, we must have cats, lots of them, defying nature or gravity, falling or flying toward their unsuspecting prey. We use each other as piñatas. We set our blushing brides on fire. Even the minister can't contain himself. It doesn't take a genius to know the hockey puck, a 70-mile-per-hour insult will find its way to the softest spot. It's so funny, or will be, The broken noses, jammed fingers, bruised testicles. Just give us money and time. We can't imagine the world wouldn't love us. Our hilarious rears stuck in lawn chairs, our slow children ramming their heads over and over into chain link fences. Look at the small dog pissing on the big dog. We want so much for it to be worth something. So, like I said, research. Many, many years. So I think I'll transition to reading a few new ones, because that's a fun thing to do as well. I continue to be writing in the voices of other people, even when I think I'm writing a poem from my own point of view. And this one is entitled, Charlie Chaplin Takes Third Place in a Charlie Chaplin Lookalike Contest. And I checked, and this is true. Snopes.com has verified it. He did win third place, although there's some disagreement whether or not it was second place or third place. But he didn't win first place in his own lookalike contest. So I had to relate to that, because I never look as good as I do in pictures either. So my reflection is runner-up to my face. My shoes second only to my feet. Bowler hat, not a far cry from my actual head. And yet there are days I call myself lost. Cane twirling like a propeller, like a confused compass, unable to point the way home. There are days upon days where nothing resembles a punchline. There's a knock on the door, but no one answers. 3 men walk into a bar and stay there until they are blindly, inconsolably drunk. How did I cease to be a metaphor for myself and become a mere impression? A swagger, some coattails, a smudge of grease paint. I want to say to whomever tottering off with a trophy, a gold-plated me on top, just who do you think you are? And the next two I want to read are very, very short, but they're part of a project I'm working on that I'm sort of excited by. I'm writing poems that are sort of imitations, where I take a poem that really has got me going, has got me thinking, and then I write sort of my response to it, or I launch off into new territory from that poem. And I guess rather than imitations, I like to think of these poems as my offsprings. So I'll start by reading the original, and then I'll read my version so that you can get a sense of where it's coming from. So this is one I think that every college student should be familiar with. The poem "This Be the Verse" by Philip Larkin. I could recite this one if I needed to, but they fuck you up, your mom and dad. They may not mean to, but they do. They fill you with the faults they had and add some extras just for you. But they were fucked up in their turn by fools in old-style hats and coats, who half the time were soppy, stern, and half at one another's throats. Man hands on misery to man. It deepens like a coastal shelf. Get out as early as you can, and don't have any kids yourself. So I love that poem. I love it. But I did not heed Larkin's advice. I have 2 little strange people at home, and so I felt obligated to write my response to that. And so my poem is called "This Too Be the Verse." Sweetest fetus, when you meet us, don't despair, our thinning hair. It's all for you we make this fuss as midwife swings you through the air. They stitched her up, your mother dear, and then you drained her swollen breasts. Your father, he can barely hear for all your screams, small anarchist. Our blood is yours to carry on, to spill with every toddling crash. We cannot save you from the harm. This world we brought you to at last. And then one more, it's a short one, but this poem by Richard Jones has always been a favorite of mine. It's called White Tiles, and it's very, very short. I've been studying the difference between solitude and loneliness, telling the story of my life to the clean white towels taken warm from the dryer. I carry them through the house as though they were my children asleep in my arms. So my version, my offspring of that poem is White Towels, Red Sock, based on actual events. I should know that self-pity has no place here. It bleeds into every corner of my house. Those towels lugged from washer to dryer again and again, I hold them up, pink as my daughter's cheeks, stained but glowing with the sun. And then I'll read a final one from my book, The Amazing Cannonball Couple. That's the one I want to read. This one actually, I wrote this poem when my husband and I lived in Arizona, and we had train tracks that went through our backyard. And the train was so close that when it went through, it rattled the dishes in our cabinet. And one day, the circus came to town, and it went through our backyard. And they stood on the railings of the train cars waving at us. It was like right out of a movie. And they went on to Phoenix. I never actually got to see the Amazing Cannonball Couple, but they were on that train. And so this is sort of my imagination of what it would be like to be them. Where are you? I know you're... There you are. The Amazing Cannonball Couple. I should have been a school teacher, she says, climbing into the cannon beside mine. Her helmet glitters, and beneath it she wags her flame-retardant wig in mock regret. Shot out at 65 miles per hour, there's no sense in looking back. It could kill. Atop this keg of gunpowder, we await our cue. This must have been what we meant by better or worse. Though I doubt we could have then imagined a sesamoid fractured 5 times, twice dislocated shoulder, eyebrows singed and penciled back for each night's performance. As long as our bodies bounce back, we've vowed to continue. We could have been anything. She's good at math, and I've always liked geography. Each night we collapse into sleep, bodies propelled through dreams we'll never share. The ringmaster begs the audience for silence, and I know exactly how many seconds we have left. As the flame travels up the fuse, I hear her breathing, steady, and know her mind is focused on the moment of impact. What strength it takes to land just right so nothing breaks. Who would want lesson plans, small desks in rows after this? We've taught ourselves to fly and fall against nature, to be both bird and stone. For a moment suspended above the crowd, 2 independent projectiles, 1 marvelous act. Thank you.